ready now.
In the world of gaming, sequels are as inevitable as death, taxes, and microtransactions in an EA game. After all, a smash hit like Gears of War or Uncharted making billions being left untapped would be criminal. Still doesn't explain why Sniper 2 exists though. But sometimes, very rarely, a sequel will take the foundations left by its predecessor and tear them apart, making a follow-up which only links to its prequel in name. Whether it's due to a publisher taking over from a now bankrupt entity, the changing of dimensions necessitating quite the overhaul, or even just by chance, these games tore up the script and began anew. In 1991, Apogee Software would release Duke Nukem for MS-DOS systems, a 2D side-scroller which saw the titular hero battling Dr. Proton and his army of robot baddies. A sequel would follow in 1993, and both were well liked by critics and gamers. Perhaps nothing that could be considered game-changing, but they were enjoyable enough. It wasn't until 1996's Duke Nukem 3D that 3D Realms would change everything, both for the bleach blonde hero and gaming. Now taking place in a first-person shooter, Duke was turned from a regular Schwarzenegger meathead into a pop culture quoting, babe wooing parody of machismo. Ooh yeah! But more impressive was the improvements to the ancestors of the genre, like Doom and Wolfenstein 3D. Most objects could be interacted with, barrel loads of secrets could be uncovered, and the litany of stages were mostly a delight. The fact that Duke Nukem 3D keeps getting re-releases tells you how good this game is. And it feels a world away from the modest beginnings as a side-scrolling platformer. Core Design's Fighting Force would inherit its own drama as it marched towards its launch in 1997. Intended as Streets of Rage 4, before being canned on the Saturn and launched on near everything but, it tried to revive the fading spirit of beat-em-ups in 3D. 2 years later, and Core would deliver Fighting Force 2, and while it inherited some of Fighting Force's beat-em-up quirks, there were many more elements added. Tomb Raider-esque platforming and camera work, Metal Gear Solid-styled sneaking, and other components were wedged in, turning it into something almost completely different aside from the name and returning characters. Unfortunately, this radical overhaul didn't help Fighting Force 2, which launched to mixed reviews at the time. Years later, Fighting Force has become something of a cult gem in the retro community, while its sequel remains largely forgotten. This one may be a bit contested, seeing as how Bad Fur Day isn't really a sequel to Pocket Tales, but it's still worth a mention. In 1999, Rare would release Conker's Pocket Tales for the Game Boy Color, an E-rated action-adventure in the same vein as Zelda DX. It was quite harmless, both in terms of its family-friendly content and middling scores. Bad Fur Day was originally intended to be quite similar, and while development continued at the same time, a mixed response from previewing journos calling it another kid-friendly Mario/Banjo platformer led to a major overhaul. Now, Conker was a foul-mouthed, alcoholic squirrel, searching for his way home after getting wasted the night before. The Collectathon was replaced with context-sensitive actions and scatological humour, including parodies of then-released movies like The Matrix. The gamble was risky. After all, Nintendo was a notoriously family-geared console maker, and while critics adored the release, it sold rather poorly, and has become one of the rarest N64 games to collect as a result. Thank goodness for Rare Replay. This one is a strange game to reminisce about. Precursor Legacy launched in 2001 to great reviews, and marked one of the first big, exclusive successes for the PS2. A bright, colourful and technically remarkable platformer, it seemed like Naughty Dog would have another Crash trilogy on their hands. But when Jak 2 launched in 2003, players would be shocked that they are even connected. Tonally, the story is much darker, with mild language, Jak being tortured and turned into a Jekyll and Hyde monster of sorts, and overhauled gameplay which, while still including some platforming, felt more like Grand Theft Auto, with driving, shooting, and less linear adventuring. Jak 2 was well received by most critics, though some were less enthralled by the change in tone and the, frankly, stupidly hard gameplay that suffered from a lack of checkpoints. Either way, it was a bold change of pace for the series, which would remain even with subsequent sequels and spin-offs. And now it's time to look at perhaps the most radically different and controversially changed sequel of the bunch. Fallout was a beloved top-down RPG series released on PCs in the late 90s from Interplay and Black Isle Studios. After Fallout 2, the third installment would take a decade to emerge, but it was extremely different. Interplay and Black Isle were no more, and Bethesda would pick up the reins after acquiring the IP from a bankrupt Interplay in 2007. Bethesda would rework the series into a first-person Western RPG, very similar to Elder Scrolls, leading to the infamous Oblivion with Guns description. Before their demise, Interplay and Black Isle were even working on their own Fallout 3, titled Van Buren, which would be much closer to previous games, though it was ultimately cancelled. Those bred on the top-down Fallouts met this change with anger, while critics and new players at the time lauded Fallout 3 for its malleable gameplay stakes, immersive world, and exciting VAT system. Whichever camp you fell into, one thing was clear: Fallout 3 was worlds away from its more modest PC predecessors. And those are some of the radically different sequels released. Did you play any of these? Have you got more examples? Share them in the comments below. And if you enjoy this video, subscribe and ring the bell for more. Remember, this channel is about all games, all errors in context.